Hello, good morning, and welcome back to Morning Ray. I'm your host, Leonora Lana, and today's episode was actually prompted by a DM from one of you guys. I got asked, can you please talk a little bit about how to spend time with yourself when you don't love yourself? I genuinely have tried reading, going on walks, meditating, journaling, tried positive affirmations, and still do not love myself, and I don't like spending time with myself. And this really led me to think and question a lot of things because personally, for as long as I can remember, I have always enjoyed and valued my time with myself. But I do know I have friends who hate doing it. They don't do it. They're always around people. They're always around family, friends, whoever. They're not really one to sit with themselves. And it led me to want to research it more and kind of find out the psychology behind all of this. Like, why do some people like spending time with themselves? Why do some people don't? Like this listener, like, why is it so hard for her to do that? And from a baseline perspective, like, first thought is that when you are alone, you are kind of forced to deal with any thoughts, feelings, emotions you may be having about yourself or your life. And when you're with people, you are given a distraction from that. You are distracted from your thoughts and feelings. You may acknowledge your feelings, but you don't have to sit there with them in discomfort. And I think that's kind of where it stems from. I think as a 24-year-old thinking about this question is that the people like myself, not that I'm perfect, I'm not always super comfortable with being by myself. Obviously, it comes in waves, but generally speaking, people who enjoy and see value in spending time alone are comfortable with working through their thoughts and feelings and are curious about it and gain value from it and use it as a way to strengthen their relationship with self. Whereas the people who currently feel uncomfortable by spending time by themselves or don't find enjoyment or value in it have not done that work yet. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, the first step is acknowledging it, like this listener has. And she seems to be trying to find joy and find love in doing it by reading and going on walks and meditating and journaling and practicing positive affirmations. And it's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's definitely something that you have to continuously work on. And what I always say, guys, is that you have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable if you want to grow and evolve as a person. But until we get into the bulk of the episode, in the thick of it, I still want to do a little life update. I want to go through our current faves, and then we'll go through this topic more. But I felt really called to talk about it when I saw this DM, and I was like, well, that's a great topic to talk about because I've never really thought about it like that, because I personally haven't struggled with this that much in the past, like, I want to say 5 to 6 years or so. Or honestly, I don't even think, this could be oblivious of me, but I don't think I've ever really truthfully struggled with alone time. And then there's psychology behind that with like how you're raised and your relationship with your parents and how you were given love, etc., like your ability to self-soothe. We won't go too far into that, but let's just give a little life update, current faves. On a lighter note, I am currently struggling so hard with allergies. I have never had seasonal allergies in my entire life. I never really got it. I knew they were a thing, but I never struggled with it. And all of a sudden this year, as of like the past week or so, I step outside and I'm instantly congested. I feel like I have to sneeze a million times. My eyes are kind of itchy. It is not fun. I do not wish this upon anyone, and this fucking sucks. And I had to go to the drugstore this morning to go get some allergy medicine. So we shall see how that works for me. I'm also going to pick up some bee propolis spray because I know having like local honey and bee affiliated products can really help with allergies as well. And I feel like normally I do, which is maybe why I'm having allergies this year, because I haven't. That's my theory. But apparently people have also told me that every, I think it's like 7 years or something. This could be so false, but apparently every 7 years or so you can develop allergies, almost like how like your hair changes every 10 years. Every 7 you can apparently randomly just start having allergies. So hot girls have allergies. I've decided to coin it. On another side note, I really want to learn how to play pickleball. I have for a while, ever since JC Marie was talking about playing pickleball. Oh my God. Ever since JC Marie had started talking about pickleball and playing it, I was curious. And then Caitlin started playing, like Caitlin Nolan. And now on my TikTok, I don't know if you guys are on the same side of TikTok that I am, but I'm on the side of TikTok where it's like, POV, you found your boyfriend or your husband at a pickleball court. And it's all these hot guys. Like, that's literally my whole For You page. But besides that part of it, I just want to learn how to play a sport. I've been very much into sports lately. I finally understand them. I get the hype around them. Baseball, not so much, even though if you've been seeing my stories, I've been to 2 baseball games in the past week after not having gone for years. But I've really been enjoying watching hockey, basketball, tennis. I finally understand what's going on. And I want to learn how to play pickleball. I want to like do more activities. And I'm thinking like maybe I could incorporate this into like Hot Girl Sweat, like the Hot Girl Sweat events. Maybe like we could do a Hot Girls Play. Like, how would you guys feel about like a free little event for us to get together and learn how to play pickleball or spike ball or fun activities we can do together this summer, or maybe like even a run club or something? Like, I think that could be a fun little thing that we do together. If you live in Toronto, I think that could be fun, but we'll look into that more. We'll start planning that more. Speaking of Hot Girl Sweat, I will be having ticket sales go live this week for our event next week, which is our Hot Girl Sweat event at Ride Cycle Club on Ossington. All proceeds are being donated to the Mood Disorders Society of Canada. Yes, that's correct. Sorry. All the organizations have really long names, so I wanted to make sure I was saying that right, but it's for the Mood Disorders Society of Canada. Bipolar does run in my family, so this is something that is very near and dear and close to me. And yeah, so I will be posting on Instagram when tickets are going to go on sale. They will be $40. There are 56 spots. Tickets tend to go fairly quickly, so make sure you buy them if you want to get them when they go on sale. But everything will be posted on my Instagram at Alana Bloomberg. And now on to my current faves. I am back in my morning hot girl walk era. It is so nice to go on a walk in the morning. I used to do this all the time when I was living at home and when I had first moved out, and I really just fell off of this. And honestly, I really fell off of it in the past year or so, ever since I started working for myself. And I really do miss it. I miss my morning hot girl walks, and we're going to bring them back. It was really nice to go on a quick little, well, not quick, it took a while, but I went on a nice 6-kilometer walk this morning, and it was really nice to just listen to a podcast, walk around downtown Toronto. Last week I went and walked by the water, but it's nice to switch it up. I love seeing all the little houses on the side streets and walking around downtown to explore my city. I feel like I'm constantly finding new spots and seeing new things in areas that I don't typically walk through, which is always really nice, and it's just really grounding, and it's movement. I'm getting fresh air. I'm getting my sunlight in the morning, which we all know helps wake us up, like we discussed in last week's episode. I did, however, snooze my alarm a million times this morning, but we're not going to talk about it. I slept until 9. I don't really like doing that, even though I can technically. I don't know if maybe it's a guilt thing. It just makes me feel like I'm behind, or that I'm sluggish, or that I'm not really working, because if I were to be going into office, I couldn't do that, obviously. But it just makes me feel unproductive, lazy, and behind. But I definitely did need the sleep, so I'm not mad about that. We still had a nice morning. We were still productive today. So you win some and you lose some. And I'm not going to get anywhere by being mean to myself or being harsh on myself or thinking about what I should have done. I'll just change it tomorrow and apply my anti-snoozing techniques, because who wants to be 5 times more likely to be anxious or depressed, and who wants to be 2 times more likely to be inflamed? Not this girl. I also don't want to be groggy in the morning, so we're going to get up when our alarm goes off. But anyways, I digress. I am obsessed with the Giorgio Armani Prisma Glass Lip Gloss, specifically in cherry glaze. It's this sheer red lip gloss, And you guys know I'm normally like a pink or clear or like light pink gloss girl, but I got sent this one and I'm obsessed with the color. I'm already like going through this bottle because I've applied it so much already and it feels really nice. I don't like a sticky gloss. It is definitely more like of a like oil gloss hybrid situation, but I really, really like it. I'm not a huge fan of the applicator. I'll say that. I find it a little bit skinny and flimsy, so that's not my favorite, but the packaging is still stunning and I love the color and it looks so good. I don't know. I'm just obsessed with it. And then lastly, my current fave, if it wasn't obvious already, I'm a big sports girl right now and we're kind of vibing with it because my whole life I didn't get sports. I didn't want to watch it. I would always say I hated sports and my mom was always like, never say that to anyone. But I just didn't get it. I didn't find what was so interesting about it. I didn't understand what was going on in the game. I didn't grow up with brothers. I've never had a boyfriend. My dad didn't really watch sports growing up because my parents are from South Africa. Like he would watch like rugby like very rarely, mostly like Tour de France because he cycles, and like golf. Like that was it. Maybe tennis was on a lot amount, but like he never tried to explain anything to me. I don't even know if he knew what was really going on in tennis. I think in golf and cycling because he does those things. But like I was never educated, so I never got it. I never went out to figure out this information myself, but I've been educated and now I like it and it's fun. So we're going to run with it. But let's get into the episode. We already kind of spoke about it, but to remind you what the question was and what prompted this, and maybe some of you can resonate with this, maybe you don't, maybe you're more on the side where I'm at, where I feel really comfortable spending time with myself. I like getting to know myself better. I like sitting with my uncomfortable thoughts and feelings and working through them and trying to understand the deeper reason as to why I'm having those thoughts and feelings. But to reiterate, how can you spend time with yourself when you don't love yourself? Even if you have genuinely tried reading, going on walks, meditating, journaling, trying positive affirmations, and still do not love yourself and don't love spending time with yourself. Personally, from my perspective, why I love spending time alone is that I would classify myself as like an extroverted introvert, but from an introversion standpoint, I really do charge by being alone. And I'm also very comfortable in being alone. I don't feel lonely, I want to say 99% of the time when I'm alone. Maybe this is like a dependency thing. I was alone a lot as a child because my parents were working a lot and traveling. And I found it kind of hard to make friends when I was younger. Like I definitely had friends, but they never felt like fulfilling relationships a lot of the time. So maybe it's like from a dependency thing. Like I find comfort in the dependence that I have on myself and I can trust myself and I'm not relying on anyone. If we're getting really deep here. And then from an odd, oh my God, I typed out this word and I don't know if I can say it. Fun fact, I used to go to speech therapy when I was younger because I would swallow my words and not enunciate. My tongue was too big for my mouth. And I remember I used to always have to like practice clicking my tongue. I don't know. That's like the only memory I have of it. Autonomia. Wow, I can't say this word. How to pronounce? Okay. Autonomous. From an autonomous standpoint, aka authenticity, I personally enjoy and value time to myself. Like I like getting to know myself better and understanding my thoughts and feelings better. So I find comfort. I recharge alone. I enjoy and find value in having time to myself, and I like getting to know myself and sitting in that discomfort and dissecting my thoughts and feelings and anything that comes up. I went and like read a few articles on research studies as to why some people enjoy alone time and why some people don't. So from an article in Psychology Today, it was talking about how phonies, aka people who are not authentic people, don't enjoy spending time alone, whereas authentic people do. And I feel like my list of things to buy, to do, activities that involve spending money is never ending around the holidays, making the idea of investing and saving and thinking about your future to be a little bit more challenging, a little bit more overwhelming. Acorns makes it easy to start automatically saving and investing for you, your kids, and your retirement, even during the holidays. You don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that matches you. You don't need a ton of time. You can create your Acorns account and start automatically investing your money in just 5 minutes. You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now. That could be $5 a day or even just your spare change. That's right. Acorns can round every purchase you make up to the dollar and automatically invest your spare change for you. And you can get bonus investments just for buying the stuff you need from the brands you love. I personally love Acorns. It's simplified the investment process, which can be overwhelming and intimidating, but it just makes it so simple, so easy, and something more accessible no matter how much money you have to invest. Head to acorns.com/Alana or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. Paid non-client endorsement compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/Alana. I'm super excited about today's sponsor. They've sponsored the podcast before, and this is a topic I'm super passionate about. I fear that us as girls struggle with PMS far more than we should, and we really shouldn't. I truly get the worst PMS symptoms. My boobs are sensitive, my face breaks out, my sugar controllings are out of whack. I feel like I'm just a bottomless pit. My mood is not the vibe, and Estro Control has been super helpful in helping manage those PMS symptoms and making that time of the month a lot more enjoyable. Estro Control is a formula developed by Happy Mammoth, a supplement company dedicated to making women's lives easier. Say no more. Estro Control contains science-backed herbal extracts that help support hormonal health, especially if you are someone like myself who struggles with PMS. It was created to help women feel like themselves all month long and to not struggle with the feelings PMS can cause. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code Alana at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use the code Alana for 15% off today. I'll have all these articles linked in the show notes. It's just 2 that I looked at, but essentially studies gathered that authentic, autonomous people are more likely to say that they spent time alone because they enjoyed and valued it, and it's more so about enjoying it and what they get from it as opposed to getting away from people. Whereas for inauthentic people, they were especially unlikely to like to be alone because they wanted to be, and they were less likely to find alone time valuable or beneficial. Like they just didn't see a benefit or value in doing it. And I think also there's this misperceived connotation that introverts like alone time more than extroverts, but it's actually both introverts and extroverts who are authentic people enjoy and value alone time just as much as one another. It's not just limited to the introverts. Further, people who are dispositionally autonomous are curious about their own emotional experiences. So like myself, it's not necessarily that I love every single part of myself. Rather, myself, like these people, if we feel anxious or feel fearful, we want to dig deeper and find out why that is. That's honestly why I love going to therapy, because I'm able to kind of figure out and uncover why am I feeling anxious? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I having these negative emotions, instead of running away from it and avoiding it and putting it under the rug, which is definitely something I used to do. And maybe that's why, I guess when I was younger, I didn't love, I spent time alone, but I didn't love it. I felt wrong for doing it in a way. Basically, people who are dispositionally autonomous, they're willing to sit with being uncomfortable with their feelings and being alone, and actively are trying to figure out what it means. And I also want to speak on the fact that there is a difference between being alone versus feeling lonely or having loneliness. And as a society, we tend to use these two words interchangeably, but they are so different. You can be alone and be happy. Loneliness is something that is a negative or painful experience, whereas being alone is just like a physical description, like you are not with another person or with other people. It's the idea of being alone and what you make of it. People who struggle with loneliness can link itself to deeper roots. So that can be like a trauma, a loss, or grief, lack of self-esteem and insecurity. Usually loneliness is due to having low self-esteem and being insecure. But if you are someone who, and that doesn't mean like even if you are secure, like you'll never experience loneliness. It just means that if you are someone who lives a healthy and balanced life, you are better equipped to be able to face loneliness because you have both internal and external resources to help you navigate those feelings. You're not scared of those feelings. You know how to work through them. You have the support system to kind of guide you through that. And you typically have like a sense of strong community and a strong sense of self. Someone said in one of the articles, this was from the Huffington Post? It's from HuffPost.com. And the article was called Why You Can't Stand to Be Alone and How to Learn to Love It. And it was by Elena Hall. And she quoted, who did she quote? Ross Rosenberg. And they said, healthy, resilient people respond to normal loneliness by resolving it. Unhealthy people become overwhelmed by it. And I really couldn't agree with that more. Like, I love all my friends, but I can see so visibly who has the skill set to deal with being lonely and to find comfort in that discomfort and knows how to navigate those thoughts and feelings that they are struggling with versus my friends who can't do that and they're almost unwilling to do it because it's so uncomfortable to them and they don't know how to cope with that they just avoid it altogether. And I think this is something that you can be taught at a young age. Like I was reading one article and it said it has a lot to do with how your parents and you had a relationship when you were younger, like the way that they taught you how to self-soothe. And it's kind of hard to learn this once you're older, but I do think that if you are willing to put in the work and to get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable and question yourself as to why you are having these feelings and these thoughts, why are these anxieties coming up, why are these negative thoughts and feelings coming up, and like really digging deep down, you can learn to love spending time alone. You can learn to love journaling and meditating and practicing positive affirmations and going on walks and going to coffee shops and just doing things by yourself without the need to have someone else there. And it will help you gain more self-esteem, a stronger sense of self, more confidence, and just be overall a healthier, happier person and not struggle with loneliness so much. I think if you're listening to this, and if you are someone who hates being alone and spending time alone because it makes you feel lonely or uncomfortable, I want to encourage you to do it more. I want you to encourage yourself to set aside time, whether you start with once a week, maybe once a day or something, where you are entirely alone. You are not numbing yourself out by scrolling on Instagram or TikTok or having TV or music playing. Like, I want you to get comfortable and set aside time sitting in silence. Maybe you have a journal nearby you or paper or something, but I want you to really encourage yourself to get comfortable with sitting alone, sitting in silence, and working through the thoughts that come up, question them, and work through them. The more you do this, the sooner you will be able to enjoy and find value in your alone time. I honestly think that's what I was forced to do, especially in the past 5 to 6 years. And that's why I am the way I am and why I'm so comfortable with being by myself, because I find value in it and it gives me time to work through those thoughts and feelings I may be having that I'm ignoring when I'm with other people and I'm being distracted from, or that I'm being distracted from when I'm scrolling on TikTok. I know I scroll on TikTok as a way to numb myself, and I know I'm not alone in that, and I know a lot of people do that. It's a great distraction, but I really encourage you to sit in silence. Whether you're sitting in silence in your bedroom, in your apartment, you're going on a silent walk. Yes, I said that I go on walks when listening to a podcast, but a lot of the time, I've said this before on the podcast, I simply just go on a walk with no headphones in, phone in pocket or purse or fanny pack, whatever, and I'm just forced to think and deal with whatever comes up. Your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you have. And if you don't have a strong sense of self and a strong relationship with yourself, how are you supposed to have that with others? I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a doctor, but I do think that it is important to be able to be comfortable with being alone with yourself. And it's okay if it's hard. It's okay if it's really uncomfortable for you. It's okay if you don't love yourself right now. It's okay. We're not always going to love ourselves 110% of the time. We all have insecurities. We all have self-doubts. We all have negative thoughts about ourselves. But it is how you navigate and move through those thoughts and feelings and emotions that makes you who you are and betters your relationship with yourself. You can't expect someone to give you the love you want and deserve if you can't give it to yourself. And you gain that love for yourself through working through those thoughts and feelings. By actually working through those thoughts and feelings. Not half-assing it. No one's looking at it. No one's looking at your journal. No one's looking into your mind. So don't half-ass it. If you actually want to learn to love yourself and learn to love and enjoy and value time by yourself with yourself, and learn to love and genuinely enjoy reading, going on walks, meditating, journaling, practicing positive affirmations, you need to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. You need to get comfortable with working through, acknowledging, hearing, feeling, seeing even the darkest of thoughts of yours. And if you feel like you can't do this alone, then I think it's time that we maybe start to look into something like a therapy, like going to a therapist and talking to a professional. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. You're just human. I talk to a therapist every month. I go for an hour and I talk to her. I don't have some mental illness, but I still talk to her because it helps me keep my relationship with myself strong and for me to not go back into the habit of just throwing everything under the rug and ignoring it and numbing myself and distracting myself. And it's okay if you're in that position, because I once was in that position where I just threw everything under the rug, ignoring it until it blew up in my face. And I kept going through that cycle. But you know what's amazing about our mind and our life and everything is that we have the power to rewrite our story, to change our circumstances, to change how we look at things, to reframe things, to change what we do today and how it will ripple into the rest of our life. We may not be able to change what happened in the past, and thinking it over and through and thinking what if or should have thoughts are not going to change anything. But we have every power over our actions of now. And those actions that we do today can help make spending time by ourselves a little bit easier, a little bit more enjoyable. It will help us love ourselves just a little bit more. And it's not going to be a linear process. It's not. There's going to be ups and downs, and sometimes we're going to backtrack a little bit. But the more you challenge yourself to sit in that discomfort and to do things alone, whether it be going on a walk, going to a workout class, journaling, doing an activity, by yourself and being able to sit there without distractions and work through those thoughts and feelings, the sooner you will start to love yourself more. And I know this is a bit tough love. I am very much that person. I will just give you the straight facts. And if you don't like it, I think that says that maybe you need to do this. If you don't like this conversation at all, if you're like, oh no, I don't need to spend time by myself, I'm perfectly great, that's not for me. I think it gives you all the more reason that you need to spend some time alone and get to know yourself better and understand those thoughts and feelings better. And I think that will also, in tune, allow you to show up in your life, in your relationships, around other people as a more authentic, true version of yourself. You won't be reliant on reflecting or mirroring what other people are doing or what their interests are or what they like and claiming it as your own. You'll be able to share what you like and what you don't, and you will be able to confidently communicate with a partner who you are and your needs and wants and things that you need to work on and maybe your traumas or scars that they should be aware of. But if we don't spend time by ourselves, how do we know ourselves really? And if we don't love ourselves, how can we love someone else and how can someone else love us? Just some food for thought. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I honestly felt very passionate about this, and you guys know I've kind of just been in my head a little bit about the podcast lately, but to the listener who sent the question in about learning how to spend time with yourself when you don't love yourself, thank you. It really prompted some thoughts and discussion for me to share with you guys today. If you liked this episode, please don't forget to leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I love reading your reviews. It's how you can help support the podcast. I love seeing you guys post that you're listening to the pod on stories. But I love you guys so much, and we'll chat soon. Bye, guys.